I want you to know that it is completely possible to escape or avoid ever having to have a 9-to-5 job.
What am I doing with my life?
Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to have more time with your family. Maybe you want to be able to work remote from anywhere in the world. When I started my professional career, I felt the exact same way. I felt that there was a disconnect between what I was doing with my life and what I was meant to do. By the end of this video, I'm going to explain to you not only how to do just that, but if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you 3 actionable steps that you can start implementing right away to start making a difference in your life. I want you to sit with me for a second and just imagine something. Imagine a digital world where a giant computer program runs a digital society. Young people are sent to training facilities every day where they're taken through a set curriculum. There are too many of them to train on their unique talents, so in order to sustain society, they're taken through a predetermined curriculum. Like an assembly line, they make their way through 12 years of this training, after which they are then tested based on what they have learned, and depending on how well they do on those tests, they are then assigned a role to play in this digital society. There are only so many good jobs though, so about 99% of people end up playing a mediocre role without a lot of meaning in the job that they have. They're not terribly well paid though, they make just enough to make ends meet and cover all of their expenses. Once people in this digital society are assigned a role to play, it's almost impossible to change. Most people in this digital society end up doing the same thing until they're too old to actually work, so as a thank you for their contributions, they're given a couple years of retirement where somebody else comes and then takes their place. You can probably guess the point that I'm looking to make here. The digital society is the Matrix, but it probably sounds pretty familiar because it works just like our society. Working a 9-to-5 job and earning a paycheck every 2 weeks so that you can just sustain your cost of living is very much living inside the Matrix. It's programmed into us since we start school, and everything that we're taught inside of school is designed to create more employees that contribute to the Matrix, or this fictitious society, in our case, very real society. It's not set up to create glitches or entrepreneurs who are on the outside of society looking in, or people that are able to leave their 9-to-5 jobs. Just by living with intention and knowing a few basic things, it's possible to break free from society and to be on the outside looking in, free from the Matrix. If we want to escape the Matrix, step 1 is understanding how society actually functions. This is the boring stuff, but stick with me because this is going to build on itself throughout the video and we're going to get to the good stuff at the end. Society is not set up to create independent thinkers. That would be way too difficult to maintain. Businesses that do well follow repeatable, scalable processes. And the government is a giant business. Literally. It employs people just like every other business in the world. It delivers services to us in exchange for our taxes, like a police force, government, law system, and so on. In order for society to function, it needs to adhere to these rules. Providing a customized life for every single person is just not something that it's set up to produce. Most people are completely fine with this. They want what everyone else has. That's great for them, but I know my audience here on YouTube, and just by the nature of watching this video means that you think differently and you want something different. However, this used to be the only option, and it used to be the safe option. This has dramatically changed over the last decade though. Gone are the days of company and employee loyalty. It's now an expectation for employees to jump around from one company to the next to the next. Lifers are a thing of the past. Companies owe employees even less. Layoffs are happening all the time. Downsizing and restructuring are things that are in the news so often that we've completely stopped noticing them. Tens of thousands of knowledge workers being laid off in one day, day after day after day. Do you think that all 10,000 of those people got bad performance reviews or weren't good at their jobs? Absolutely not. The company is more loyal to its shareholders and to the stock market than it is to their own employees. It's just the way that it is set up. This is why when a company does well, their employees don't all get raises. Instead, the shareholders and the board members receive a dividend or compensation for those additional earnings. This pyramid-like structure is the underpinning of society. The higher up society's ladder you go, the more benefit you get from those underneath you. The lower you are, the less benefit you see. This ties directly into part 2, how money works. 99% of people have a very basic relationship with money. They work for a set number of hours, perform tasks, and receive a paycheck. This paycheck goes to their bills, and then it goes to whatever they want to spend their money on. Cars, clothes, whatever. What they don't realize is that money is actually the hardest working asset that you can possibly have. Money is a tool, and it's a tool that can work for you or it can work against you. Buying and consuming is exactly what society wants you to do because it keeps you working as a cog in the system. Those that have climbed up the hierarchy of society benefit from this. Landlords make money off of tenants just for owning the property, and so on and so forth. Even worse, many people will even borrow money that they've not yet earned. If you watch my video on wage slavery, you'll understand that the more of this that you do, the more money that you borrow, the more you become a slave to the system. With every purchase that you make and the more debt that you bring on, you sacrifice more and more of your autonomy over your own life. The good news is that there's another way, and it is incredibly easy. The first thing that you want to do is, instead of spending everything that you earn, you want to start saving even a small amount of it and start investing those earnings. This creates leverage, and the more leverage that you have, the more freedom that you're able to achieve. Just by simply adjusting your spending habits and your lifestyle a little bit, you can start creating leverage and having more autonomy over your own life. When you do this, your money starts working for you. With every dollar that you make, you start taking step after step outside the matrix of society and the structure of the system. The third part of this is that we need to understand the digital renaissance that we're all living through. The problem with pinching pennies and saving a small amount of your income is that it takes forever, but it used to be the only option. Owning a business used to be incredibly rare. This is because the barrier of entry to owning a business was extremely high. Digital commerce didn't used to exist, and you needed to do business in person with people with a physical location. The digital renaissance that we're all living through has changed that in a couple of key ways. First of all, access to information has been democratized. It used to be that if you wanted to learn how to start a business, you would have to personally know a business owner. These days, you can learn to start a business from anywhere. YouTube, one-to-one mentorship, online groups, forums, you name it. The game has completely changed. Secondly, this has completely redistributed power. Anyone can start a business now, and if they know a couple of key skills, they can start generating an income, and quickly. It used to be that you'd either need to have a ton of investment capital up front to get started, or you'd already have to be a massive business with a massive marketing budget to make new ideas profitable. Social media has completely changed that, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Sure, the platforms might change, but the ability to reach people through social media is not going anywhere. People that start agencies offering these as services or build their own personal brands are going to be the winners in all of this. Perhaps the most important part of the digital renaissance, though, is the fact that it's actually made it incredibly affordable for anyone to start a business. It's possible to start a business as a sole proprietor for less than $50 with a name, website, logo, business email, you name it. For less than $200, you can have a full-fledged incorporated LLC. It's just all about picking the right vehicle. You can start a personal brand, you can consult with others, or my personal favorite is an SMMA or social media marketing agency providing social media marketing services to clients. I teach a course on that. If you're interested, check it out. It's the SMMA Blueprint in the description down below. Now that we understand the above principles, there are 3 key ways to leverage our way into digital freedom through the digital renaissance. Step 1 is to start saving and investing some of what you earn. Step 2 is to start a side hustle that allows you to speed up this entire process. And then step 3 is to take your side hustle full time. Step 1 is actually a lot easier than you think. You can start with like $10 per pay period. I like to use something called Betterment. It's a robo-advisor that just takes a small amount of my paycheck out of my paycheck every single month and invests it into the market. This will start compounding over time, and it'll start generating leverage for you in life. What this does is it then puts us in a position where we can start having some confidence around starting our own business. So step 2 is that you want to start a side hustle. It's a super low risk way where you still have your W-2 income, you still have your steady 9-to-5 job, but you're able to start dabbling into the business world and start generating a little bit of additional income. This is exactly what I did. I first and foremost started contributing my W-2 to my 401k, my Roth IRA, saving whatever I could. And then in 2016, me and my business partner, Derek, started our agency. And it was really just started as a side hustle where we could pay off our student loan debt a little bit faster. We'd have some money to go on maybe an additional trip per year. That was really the modest beginnings of our own social media marketing agency. But what ended up happening was that very quickly, as we'll talk about in step 3 here, it started generating enough money where I realized that it could actually become a full-time job. This is part of why I'm really bullish on the social media marketing model, because it's something that you can do outside of your 9-to-5 job. Everything about the business allowed us to manage social media outside of business hours. I was traveling a lot at the time. I was on a lot of planes. I was working from a lot of hotel rooms. And I wasn't able to meet with clients in person or do it during the day when I was very busy with my day job. Step 3 is we want to take our side hustle full time. If you work hard enough consistently, I have zero question that any side hustle that you start is something that you could turn into a full-time business one day. All it takes is hard work for a consistent period of time. And when you've been doing step 1 and 2, where you've been saving your income, you've been side hustling, adding a little bit more, you're going to start building up a bigger and bigger nest egg, which is going to allow you more and more leverage so that you'll be able to confidently walk into your day job one day and say, hey, this is no longer a fit for me. I've started my own business and I'm taking it full time. I definitely recommend that you sit down with a pen and paper, figure out exactly what your lifestyle cost is, and the exact minimum amount of money that you need to be making with your side hustle in order for it to be a full-time job, and then set those as your key North Star goals. And if you do that, you 100% will be able to leave your 9-to-5 job one day. Like I always say, you can't hit a goal without having a target in mind. You wouldn't step up and play darts with a blindfold on your eyes, so figure out exactly what those numbers are so that you can start working towards them and turn it into your full-time income one day. A great video to watch after this one would be this one right here, where I talk about the exact story actually of how I took a $150 initial investment and turned it into a 7-figure per year social media marketing agency. I'd recommend you check that one out after this one.